So let me explain the aesthetics of this setup, all right? So the whole point, the whole aesthetic of this setup, right, is the code is sacred. The code is everything. Nothing may cover my code. That's like the rule. And actually, I don't code like this normally. So this is just stream setup. This is how I code normally. And I'm working like this, right? Okay. So I have that terminal on the side and other stuff so that you all can see what's going on, like commands I type and things. But when I code normally, I just do this. And it's the code is sacred, right? So the idea with Vim and Emacs is that nothing covers my code. I can see everything. And I'm not into pop-ups. On an occasional rare thing, you'll see me do something like this because I don't want to type a really long name. But even then, you'll notice if it could complete it, it did it. But otherwise, you might see a little pink pop-up for a couple of options, just a few seconds. Nothing is allowed to cover my code. No pop-ups, nothing in my way. When I do something here, it's always down there, right? It's always like that colon right there. So there's always a gutter. And like, let's say I have a mistake here, right? So let's say I make an error. So I saved it. And notice even the message down there. I didn't get a pop-up. There's no buttons. There's no panels. There's like nothing, right? Sometimes I know people even get rid of this. I'm just lazy and I haven't bothered to get rid of that, right? So then when I do a build, and then the second part of the aesthetic is I don't need my mouse. That's the thing, right? If you use a lot of tools, it's all mouse all day long. You're just grabbing your mouse for like everything. And then you have to memorize fairly arbitrary key sequences, right? And kind of just sort of like semi-random, like F5 is pretty common, right? But like, what does it mean, right? Whereas like me, I go right all. So that it's actually a language, you know? So it's easier to remember once you learn it. And then notice what happened when I had a build error, a panel popped up. This panel right here popped up. It's temporary. I can go down into it and I can go to that error and those lines where the error is. And then I can fix it, save. And then when I run my build again, it'll go. When it works, that'll go away. Or I can make it go away on my own. I can actually close it if I need to. Boom. So this is what I mean when I say the code is sacred. The only time I get information is when I need it. The build failed, then I get a pop-up, right? When I want to do a code complete, it's really rare, but I just get a little pop-up. That's it. And the pop-up is really just some sort of like buffer down here that's temporary, right? And that's kind of the, when I talk about like a programmer's text editor and why they're so good, like Vim, NeoVim, Emacs, I think Zed is along the same lines, a few others. What they do is they focus entirely on the code. Everything is about, can you read the code? Don't obscure the code. Don't cover the code. Don't fill the screen with panels. Don't shove things in people's face. And then more importantly, allow keyboard access for everything, right? Keyboard access because it's text, right? Code is all text. So if in order to like do something, I gotta grab your mouse every day, like I'm doing this every day. And the thing is, if you have problems with your shoulder or your wrist, if it's the same one for your mouse, it's because of your mouse, right? So just making it so you don't have to use it, or get a trackball. Trackballs actually do prevent you from having like problems with your wrist and your shoulder so much, right? But it's just because you have to do this all day long, right? And that motion just stresses your joints out, right? So if you want, just take it one day and put your mouse off to the side. Just like toss it to the side and then see how much of your IDE you can use without it. And if you can't use it without your mouse, maybe it's actually the cause and it's slowing you down, right? But people really like the mouse because they don't have to remember anything. You can grab your mouse and then look around and see an icon or a thing and click on it, right? But if you're just coding all day, you just need text, throw it to the side and see if you can do it without. So that's the aesthetic. The aesthetic is that for me to be effective at programming, I only need the code, right? And then information I need comes in temporarily, or I switch to it, you know, like, oh, the build is over there, or here's my website. And that's it, right? And I think what happens with other like IDEs and whatnot, they tend to focus on, they believe the IDE is king, right? What they're trying to do is they want you to know they're there. Hey, you know, I'm still here. I'm here. Look, here's a panel. And here's another panel. Oh yeah, look, the IDE is the most important thing. Look at all these cool panels I got for you. Look, hey, we got build, and then we got like a debug, and then we have like another build thing and a thing like that. And then, oh, over here is a view for documentation. And then the only thing you see for code is a tiny little sliver of info right here. And 90% of the time, people aren't using this all the time, right? They just have it open because they just don't close it, or, oh, I might need it while I'm debugging. And so what happens is the IDE thinks it's more important than your code, which is not true. Your code is the most important thing. So yeah, so that's the aesthetic. The aesthetic is not like necessarily like retro or anything. It's just that it's the only way to get a text editor for programmers that is all about code and keyboard is to use old text editors, because that's all they had, right? I mean, Vim, I think, came out before the mouse, if I remember right. Yeah, was the mouse really prevalent in like the 1970s? I want to say that's when it came out, VI at least. Anyway, so that's the thing, right? If you're wondering why, if you're wondering why like I don't use an IDE or anything, I find them incredibly annoying, not because of the accessibility features of like helping you navigate code. That's iffy depending on your purpose. But it's because when you use them, it's constant pop-ups, nothing but panels everywhere, just in your face. It's like those annoying YouTube videos where every 2 seconds there's some annoying meme and a freaking annoying sound, and it can't just be like a regular video, right? And so if I want to code, then I use a text editor that lets me code instead of deal with the IDE. Honestly, if I were to use a IDE, first thing I would do is I would figure out how to make all of the panels hotkeyable, right? And position them in the same spot. So I would just put them all at the bottom. And then I would make, like maybe like control 1 through 9 or something like that, and go to control 1 and open the one I want. Control 2, and it gets replaced, and open the one I want. And then I would make I would disable anything that does a pop-up, right? And that would be the only way I could survive it. And the other thing is, like, a lot of them have a Vim mode, but they don't get Vim, so it never really works right. It's always like really weird. But anyway, so like if you're all like looking to try Vim, that's the motivation for it, is that you can get back to just focusing on the code. And you'll be surprised too, because like when you have all that crap in your face, right, it does mess with your ability to focus on what the code is doing and what you have to do with it. And people don't believe that, but yeah, when there's something always popping in your face and there's all this information in your periphery, your brain is trying to process it, and it's tough to do that and also write code. It's very similar to, like, how if you're trying to code, I can't code and have like music with lyrics on, or like a podcast on. Some people can, but I can't really. Maybe if somebody else is programming, I can do that, or if they're playing a video game, that's fine. But if it's something that I actually want to listen to, I can't listen to them and also code at the same time. So they both use language, right? So it's similar. It's like if you're trying to code, but then there's all this stuff that's in your face that has information on it, it's just hard to focus and distracting, right? But you still need that information, so you need some way to like call it in when you need it, make it go away.